Oh, hello everyone. So I'm starting this video to try to learn some Spanish songs by explaining them in English. This is really my very first video for this. As you may notice that my English is also not very good as well because actually my uh, native language is Chinese, as you may notice from my accent, but I do would like to use this opportunity to learn some Spanish and try to also accumulate some proficiency in English as well. I think that's a very good method because there's really a lot of similarities between these two languages. And by learning Spanish, there's really a lot of vocabulary that you can also use in English. It's really a good chance to expand your proficiency in two languages simultaneously. And I will explain that little by little. So this is the very first video, and it could be a little bit tedious because I really would have to explain a lot of things about the motivation, about some of my personal understandings of language learning. You may agree or may disagree with that. That's totally fine, right? Everyone has his own opinions. That's quite normal. I just would like to say, I found this method, at least for my English, very efficient one to improve very fast. Let's first look at this song. This is definitely a very traditional, typical, and right, like just you can see an example of I don't know how to say that. It's really typical. It's called, but it's also very old. It's called Porque bus. So it is also very old. It's first published in even 1971. It's already 550 years ago, right? That's amazing how old this song is. But it is really representative, is really typical. I cannot think about that word like ekdom or something in English. It's really why I choose this song to start with. And another reason is that it's really simple. Actually, there are only vocabularies in the basic 1,000, I think, in Spanish. Almost every word is in that way. So I think, just to start with it is a good choice. And let's look at the lyrics little by little. And so the first line, hoy en mi ventana brilla el sol. Hoy, we know it is today. I will try to explain some of the very, I have to say, tangible words for some very intangible word or the minor words like are or there in these sentences. I will just try to ignore. I don't know if you are watching, you can understand what that means. So hoy means today, and en mi ventana, this is in my window, right? Uh, Bandana, it's definitely window in English. We do have some similar word, starting with when in English, which also refer to something like the window or the glass. So it's quite normal to say windows in Spanish in that way. And brilla, so the original form is definitely brillar. So this is in present tense, and definitely this means shine. I think that's a good translation. But we do have some similar words in English with this root, like brilliant, right? It's really something related together. We know that English is really a great combination of different uh, words from different languages, such as from Greek, from from German, and also from Latin. So Maybe I will show you a little bit. For example, for water, this word is actually, I think it derives from German because the German word is something like Wasser. But we do have another two roots which will represent water. For example, the hydro and also the aqua, right? We do have these two different roots. So this one is actually from Greek. I do not speak that language, so I don't know how to spell that. And this aqua is definitely from Latin, and it is exactly the same thing in Spanish, right? In Spanish, we call water la agua. So that's why, yeah, we also use those roots in English. So although the Spanish word seems quite new for English, definitely I don't think it's that unfamiliar for English speakers. But yeah, definitely for other ones who are also learning English, I do think yeah, it's a good way to learn some new words in Spanish, and then you can get improved in your English vocabulary. That's the reason behind because they're really similar, although maybe we have more commonly used words. Some of them, for example, the brillar, like shine in English, we do have that one used in another way. Yeah, that's really always the case. Yeah, if we go deeper and deeper. Okay, so as sol, this is definitely the sun. It's yeah, nothing very special. So the first sentence is today in my window, the sun shines, and el corazón. El corazón is heart, right? Yeah, el corazón is actually my heart, according to the context. And se pone triste contemplando la ciudad. Se pone, this is ponerse, a very special word or combination in Spanish, which means to start, right? To start, yeah, or to trigger something, yeah, right? Ponerse, yeah, yeah, it's something like empezar, but it's more commonly used in this way. Se pone means start. Oh, by the way, I would like to say definitely I will make a lot of mistakes because I do not do a lot of cutting or editing after this video. It's just what I am thinking, what I'm learning uh, all the way in this video. So yeah, definitely please forgive me if I make a lot of mistakes. I think those mistakes are actually very real and can help me to improve for sure. If later on I will check that again and I will notice oh, I'm making so many mistakes, and the next time I will try to improve, and then I can be better and better. Okay, so the ponerse and the triste, this is right, sad, but definitely this triste, this root is also used for the same meaning in English as well. And contemplando la ciudad, contemplando, this is definitely the word contemplate, sorry, contemplate. Oh, okay, it's a little bit, uh, sorry. Yeah, because I would have to write it in the correct form. Yeah, I do think I will make a lot of spelling errors during the video because, you know, nowadays, yeah, sometimes we are really using the self-correction function in many softwares, and for writing the correct spelling, sometimes it's actually very difficult. For example, the differences between M and N, the differences between double letters or single letters, it's really easy to make mistakes. Yeah, that's why I also would like to use this opportunity to try to write something and then to remember the spelling of some words in a more correct way and contemplate. But we do have this ando, which is definitely the rehun, uh, the rerun. I'm not sure how to spell pronounce that word in English. It's rerun, maybe. But in Spanish, it's quite straightforward, which is gerundio, right? This is actually quite similar to the ing form in English, which means that this is contemplating. Yeah, it's really used also in quite similar way. Although in Spanish we do have some special combinations such as ir, uh, uh, with gerundio and estar with gerundio. That's also quite commonly seen. But yeah, here contemplate, I'm looking at something carefully. A ciudad, this is definitely the city. You do know that this D ending is quite typical feminine words, nouns in Spanish. For example, we do have a lot of other words like responsabilidad or posibilidad, right? That's exactly ending in ty in English, but dad, they are there in Spanish, which is feminine. Yeah, so that's definitely some very basic rules we can spot even at the first glance. So let's do that. So I'm starting instead to when I'm looking or I'm starting instead looking carefully or contemplating the city. And why that's the case? So because you left, right? So this block is because and the bus definitely this is illicit, which means someone is left, someone is leaving, right? You can say because it's leaving, I think then the tense is more making sense, right? You are leaving, right? Something like that. Here we do have this word porque, which means because, but we do have that word porque, which has an accent. That means actually why, right? This porque, porque, which do not have an accent means because, right? That's a little bit confusing at the first glance for other non-native Spanish speakers, for sure. Also for me, and I think because this song is named in that way, a lot of people may try to understand that to be why you leave, but actually this one is because you are leaving or because you left. uh, if you see the meaning of the lyrics, you will know that this is the case, but it's really usually got confused by a lot of people. And definitely, we do have another word which is balage. I do think these two words are quite similar because in English we can also say why uh, by using these two words to translate, but I do know there's a nuance or subtle differences between the two. So here's my understanding. So for Porque, it's just try to give an objective narration of the reason. So it's quite objective. But for this balake, yeah, it literally means why you do that on purpose or for what you must have to do that, yeah, or to do that, right? Something like that. So it's quite subjective because uh, if you use this word, which means that the reason is really did on purpose. Yeah, it's really your desire, right? It's really your thinking inside. But for this one, the objective one, it can be everything. For example, it rains, right? So we cannot go out. Yeah, right. So for this one, it can be some just facts. But for this balance, you really need to give a very subjective reason or why you are using the word in this way. A subtle difference between the two, yeah, definitely. I don't think if you misuse that, it will cause a lot of confusion. But if you can use that correctly, yeah, I'm actually talking to myself. Definitely, that's a better thing, right? Which means that you have uh, better proficiency in this language. Okay, because you are leaving. And let's go on. So, como cada noche despierta. So, como this is how, right? And cada noche, cada every, right? not here, this is evening, right? Desperate. So this is, yeah, that's definitely despertar, right? First, in the present tense, is a will be changed to yes. So, for example, despierto, yeah, for the first person singular, right? And for its past simple, definitely there's it's a very typical RL verb. So we do use this type of um, uh, suffix, and this is o. Yeah, and this is uh, almost. So actually, yeah, here you can see it's in the past tense, the non-sonorous form is quite similar. It's actually the same as the present form for AR or RL verb. It's quite interesting, right? And also here we do have a stays, and then we have right? Along, we do have along here, so that's been there. So that's definitely the first person singular form. So we use a. And for L, L and the EL word, we do definitely in this past simple, we use totally different endings, right? For example, there yeah, we are using something like "ye" and "instead," right? And "yo" and "emos," "estays," and "yellow." Yeah, that's just for regular words. Also, we have a lot of irregular words. So actually, this is yeah definitely the very famous or very difficult yeah, conjugation. Or you can see change of verb form in Spanish, which is definitely the most commonly used but the most difficult to master one. But I do think yeah, we can overcome this difficulty by just practice it many times until it is quite natural. If your brain is very familiar with this form, yeah, I don't think you will have any difficulty to remember that. You just can use that in a natural way, and then that's it. Then yeah, if you don't even need to think about why it is correct. It is just correct because you are already sufficiently familiar with it. I think that's definitely why we need to practice it a little bit, not a little bit, uh, a lot of times. Um, I do think when you speak that out once and you speak that out, for example, 10 times or even 20 times, the things will be the same. Definitely not the case. If you speak some sentences 100 times, you will do that without any thinking on the 101st right case because you already know everything about that. So your brain is very familiar with that. Then you will not have any difficulty. I think that's definitely my personal understanding of language learning. Although some people try to, I like to say, learn some language by reading some tedious grammar books for years, or they just think, oh, I need to be confident enough to speak it out yeah, only after a lot of paperwork. But I don't think that's really the case. In my personal opinion, I do think that yeah, you can start speaking even at day one. Yeah, that's my personal opinion. Yeah, because um, I do see a lot of Chinese students, yeah, similar to me, who are actually learning English very, very hard for 10 years, and they can even not communicate in some very basic conversations. For example, greetings, for example, shopping. They just cannot handle these things. So the reason is uh, they're really limiting themselves. I'm not. saying that they're really bad. They are doing that on purpose, but I do say the habit is very important. If you always think that I'm not good enough to speak the language out, then you are never ready. Uh, Even after reading the tedious grammar books for 10 years, I don't think you can speak this language fluently. I am also not speaking very good, but at least I think I would like to try, and I dare to share those embarrassing, as you can see, these embarrassing uh, videos with everyone. I think I hope that can help me to really get myself improved in a better way. I'm just practicing my understanding. Yeah, okay, that's too much. Not related to the topic. And yeah, let's move on. Yeah, definitely, this is definitely vocab, right? And pensando en ti, right? This pensar is definitely think. So this is thinking, right? Another ing form. ND, yeah, thinking about you, right? Y en mi reloj todas las horas viva estar. En mi reloj, sorry, this is definitely watch. I do hear that sometimes this word is pronounced like a reloj, and that ending is pronounced very light. Yeah, according to my listening experience. And todas las horas, this is all right, all the hours, right? So horas is definitely feminine. In Spanish, that's why we say es la una, right? Or for time. Why my writing is so bad. Or son las dos, something like that, because this una is definitely una hora, and hora is feminine, so we all use feminine forms for time, right? For time in Spanish. Okay, and todas las horas vi pasar. Vi is definitely the past form of ver, so that means see. But this word can be quite confusing because it's too short. When the word is too short, for the first time, you really need to think about it because there are a lot of possibilities that a conjugation of a word can be like this, right? Uh, that's why I actually don't like the word to be too short in Spanish because, for example, we have venir, we have ir, we have ver. So all these words can conjugate with the starting letter muve, right? So it's really hard to figure out what is it. But definitely practice is definitely and definitely the context will help you a lot. But I guess I would like to say, yeah, here V is very short, so it's hard to figure out what it is. But after referring to the context, you will know that's the past tense of band. And for example, this word band you can see, and definitely um, in the present tense, we will have bail in this form for the first person singular because we cannot use this word or something like that if we do regular. Then it just sounds quite strange, right? Yeah. I do know that the irregular verbs are really annoying, right? The troublemakers. But I do think some of those irregularities have a reason, right? Because you need to distinguish the different words, or it needs to make the word sounds better. Yeah, there's really a lot of reasons for that. But in the present tense, it's like that, and in the past tense, it's be stay, right? And view. And yeah, you can see for some irregular words, we do not have that accent anymore. Now we have vimos, and we have vistes, and we have yellow, right? Uh, so yeah, If I'm wrong, yeah, you can correct me or I will check that later because I really just want to recite the conjugation so that I can get more and more familiar with it. Okay, that's it. And let's go on. And porque de paz. Okay. Yeah. So let's first explain the previous sentences. So on my watch, uh, I we definitely that's I, right? The first person singular. I am seeing or I see. Actually, that I saw because it's in past tense, right? Mm, we saw pasar. This is really past, right? I saw all the hours pass, right? All the hours passing, right? Just which means that I'm yeah, right, uh, watching at my watch for nothing, something like that. Yeah, and forget a bus because you are leaving, right? This is the same sentences here, and that means that your leaving makes my life tedious, right? And the next part is the chorus, definitely. Um, I think maybe since it's a very first video, it's long enough. I will put that in the next video. Thank you.